Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be the art of seduction. Obviously, one of my favorite topics that I have on the subject of dating, relationships, and picking up and being successful with the kind of women that you've always wanted. Well, what are the key things to remember when you're trying to seduce a woman? Well, if you've been following my work for a while, you know that I teach guys how to break. What is a date? A date basically is nothing where you create an opportunity, a romantic, fun-filled opportunity for sex to happen. One thing that's very important that will help you, especially if you're going out on a first date or you basically just want to make sure you get laid every time you go out on a date, is that it always ends up in the bedroom at the end of the evening. So you want that to become your paradigm, what you're used to having happen in your life. And so an important thing to do is to make sure that when you go out on a date with a woman, that you take her to like at least 3 or 4 different places over the course of an evening. Why? Because women usually sleep with a guy on the second or third date. And so if you can take a woman to say 3 or 4 places in one evening, then you basically are giving her the emotional equivalent or experience to having had gone out on 3 or 4 dates with you. Because most guys go on a date, they pick a girl up, they take her out to dinner, and then they take her home. And it's predictable and boring, and it usually takes them 2 or 3 dates to where she feels safe and comfortable enough, putting herself in a vulnerable position to where she's comfortable enough and feels safe enough to open up to receive you in every way. And so what's important to understand about making sure, like a great way to handle it is, say you either, like maybe you don't know her that well, or she says, hey, why don't we meet out for a place first? So you go and you meet out for drinks, or you know, if she's comfortable enough and you pick her up and take her someplace, you go to someplace for like a happy hour and you hang out, have a few cocktails, maybe a few drinks, and then you say, oh, I've got this other great place I want to take you to. Then you pay your tab, you hop in a car, and the key is you never tell her where you're going or what you're going to do. And she says, where are you taking me? Just say, it's going to be a surprise. We're going to have a good time. You know, wear your jeans, wear a casual top or whatever, wear a skirt, wear something nice, or tell her to dress appropriately for the evening, and just say, we're going to have a good time. She says, where are we going? Well, if I told you, then it wouldn't be a surprise, now would it? And so you go out and you start out and you have drinks, and then you go to your second place, maybe like a wine and cheese bar, like a place where you can do like taste different wines and stuff like that. Because you want to go to a place where it's relatively quiet, where you can talk. Don't take a chick to a nightclub. It's really hard to talk, and then you're going to have other drunk guys trying to hit on you, and that's a bad way to go. The idea is to create a fun-filled, romantic evening that does nothing more than create an opportunity for sex to happen. And so you say maybe you stay for like an hour at each place. So you did an hour with drinks and an appetizer for happy hour. Then you did the wine tasting thing. Maybe you're there for an hour, hour and a half, or whatever. And then you take her someplace cool for dinner. And the idea is, a place that's quiet enough where you can talk and have a good conversation, making sure she's doing 70 to 80% of the talking, by asking her questions. Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? What do you do for a living? What do you like to do for fun? Just simple, basic stuff to break the ice and get her talking and communicating about the things that she likes and she's excited about. And if she's doing all the talking, this makes her feel incredibly comfortable, and the side benefit to that is you're basically remaining mysterious because she's doing all the talking. She doesn't know hardly anything about you, and that, women are like cats. They want to discover things about you slowly over the course of an evening or getting to know you. So you go and you have a nice romantic dinner, hour and a half, and then maybe afterwards you go do some miniature golf, or maybe a pool hall, or throw some darts, or just something that you can do to where you can move around and you can interact together, laser tag or something like that, because you give her an opportunity to hang out, to be closer to you, or like go to a haunted house or something like that. Like if it's around Halloween or something, that's something fun to do after you've gone to 3 or 4 different places, because then she gets scared. She's got to grab your arm and be close to you. And when she's close to you, that's the whole idea, is like as she gets a little friskier, maybe the wine takes a little bit of effect too, she's going to become more comfortable with you. And so as she gets used to getting in and out of the car with you, it makes her feel very safe, very comfortable, and goes along. You're making her feel comfortable, and when women feel comfortable, they'll go along with what you want to do. And so what happens is, like, how do you know when it's time to go for the kiss? Well, in the course of the evening, as you're going to these different places, you give her an opportunity to touch you and get closer to you. It's really simple. If you're standing close and, like, say you're walking together, or maybe you're playing pool and you're just kind of talking, and and she's standing here and you're kind of sipping your drink. Just take your eyes and look down at her lips for a second, and then back up at her eyes while she's talking, and then maybe back down at her lips again, and then back into her eyes. And if she looks at your lips and then up into your eyes, and then at your lips up into your eyes also, then it means she's thinking the same thing you are. And then just fucking go for the kiss and start making out. And then obviously you say, hey, you want to get out of here? And then you're either going to go, you say, hey, you want to go back to my place? You want to get out of here? We'll just, go back to your place, go back to mine. Or, hey, I got a bottle of champagne. You want to have a little champagne party at my place? And she'd be like, sure. Because by that point she's warm, she's comfortable, she feels good. You guys spent a lot of time together, maybe 3 or 4 hours. And so, that's the key. 3, 4, 5 hours to give her, a good experience of basically having 3 or 4 dates with you. And so you go back to your place, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And the key with this is always to be aware of how she feels about you, watching her comfort level, watching her level of safety. If you start moving too fast for, like, if you say you're at your place and then you're undoing her pants, your hands, and then she stops you, then you just take your hand off and just go back to caressing her leg and then her hair, and just, maybe 3 or 4 minutes later, then your hand just kind of wanders down there, and you'll notice this time maybe you get the first button undone, or maybe the zipper done before she stops you. And then, she may even, after a few minutes, zip her pants, everything back up, or redo her bra strap. And it's kind of like, it's like the game of Joust. If you ever played that video game, it was like one of the first video games that came out. It's like these guys sitting on these ostriches, these big giant joust things. And so it's seducing women, and in a way, it's kind of like jousting, because, you're in essence running at her with your invisible boner, so to speak, and breaking down her barriers emotionally to you. And it's like each time you get a little further, and if a woman starts to feel uncomfortable, like, hey, this is going a little too fast, she's going to ask you to slow down, and you absolutely must respect that. You must slow down and chill out, because if you don't, especially if you get upset or mad or pissed off, you're basically telling her that that it's not okay for her to feel safe and comfortable, which is going to make her feel even less safe and comfortable. And then she might just go, well, I think I'm going to go, because in her mind she thinks I might end up being forced to do something that I don't want to do. And that's one of the biggest fears that women have, is that they're going to be with a guy that's going to force her to do what she's not ready to do. And so you just let her back off, and maybe you chat for a few minutes, and you're just gently caressing her leg or her arms as you're talking. And after a few minutes, she may just come over and kiss you more, or after 3 or 4 minutes, then you go and kiss her, and you fool around. It's like each time you get a little bit further, and you get a little bit further. And so what happens is, through the process of seducing her, you're breaking down her resistance. And when she says, no, wait, slow down, stop, I'm not ready to go this far yet, it doesn't mean you stop completely. It just means you slow it down, basically, and then give her time for her level of comfort and level of safety to return to that level. And then it's like each time, like maybe then you get the pants off, and then she pulls them back up halfway, then next time you get them off, and then they stay off. And then you get her panties down, and then she pulls them back up, and then the next, second or third time the panties come off and they stay off, and then you're fooling around with her, and you can tell she's getting wetter and wetter, and you're getting hard, and then she's touching you down there, and then you just get on top of her, and you just, as long as she's comfortable, you just keep going for it. It's like you basically keep trying to see what you can get away with, and if she rebuffs you, then you just kind of back off, and it's like, hey. Because this always happens. It's like every time you go on a date, you always get laid. It always ends up in the bed. And so you're not worried about that happening. You're not going to be impatient. You just want her take as much time as she needs to take to feel comfortable. It's nothing you're going to say. It's just you're going to judge by her actions over the course of the evening. And that's how you seduce women on your first date or your second date or every date that you go out on women with. So if you find this information of value, you can show your appreciation by going down to the Wibbia toolbar, which is at the bottom of your screen if you're watching this on my website. Click the PayPal donate button and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information that you receive in this video. At the very least, please share this page with all your friends and family by clicking Facebook or any of the other social network sharing buttons, which are also located on the Wibbia toolbar at the bottom of the screen. If you have a question that you'd like to ask me or a topic you want me to cover in a future video newsletter, click the Contact Me tab, which is on the left-hand side of the screen, and send me several paragraphs detailing your situation or your questions, and give me several days to get back to you with a detailed response. And if you'd like to book a paid phone coaching session with me personally so I can help you out with a specific situation of yours, click the Products tab, which is on the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions for booking a paid phone coaching session with yours truly. And I will talk to you next time.